Straight ahead on WBKB, Governor Whitmer announces a new wave of small business grants.
Plus, the state prepares for President Biden's visit and what's going on in Texas. Could Michigan be next?
You're watching Thunder Bay News Network. WBKB News at 6 starts now.
This is WBKB News at 6. An in-depth look at news, weather, and sports. From hard-hitting news stories to local events, we're there with coverage you can count on. You're watching WBKB News at 6.
Good evening and thank you for joining us. I'm Sherry Stewart.
And I'm Tyler Cruz. Well, Governor Whitmer announced a new wave of small business survival grants at a press conference today. The governor reported that $52.5 million would be given to about 6,000 small businesses across the state that have been hurt by the pandemic. Whitmer also urged legislators to pass our COVID relief bill, which includes about $5 billion worth of federal funding from the Trump administration.
We have an unprecedented opportunity to invest in Michigan. Inaction at this crucial time is unacceptable. So I encourage members of the legislature to work with me in a civil way.
Whitmer also noted that we are in a race against COVID-19 variants, and while our actions have worked so far, we have to remain focused. Michigan's case rate continues to drop and is now at 113 cases per million people, over 80% less than our numbers in November. Only 3.9% of tests are coming back positive, and that's another good decline.
Well, with COVID-19 vaccination distribution ramping up in the U.S., President Biden will make his way to the state to tour the Pfizer manufacturing plant near Kalamazoo this week. White House officials are being tight-lipped about the logistics of the president's visit, but it's looking like Biden will land in Kalamazoo Thursday afternoon. Local law enforcement, Pfizer, and city officials are preparing for the president's arrival. They say it's a privilege to see an international spotlight shine on the Portage facility, especially for producing a vaccine that could save thousands or even millions of lives.
Those employees and that company know how valued they are and what they mean to this entire, literally this entire world. You can't say that very often, but they have such an impact.
And Pfizer is producing one of 2 COVID-19 vaccines approved for use in the U.S. We'll keep you updated on Biden's visit as more information becomes available.
Well, the Michigan Restaurant and Lodging Association released a roadmap for the hospitality industry to return to normal. The proposed plan by the MRLA aspires to provide lawmakers with a metric-driven solution that will allow hotel and restaurants to remain in business and return to normal. The first step of the plan is to create a reintegration schedule, one that directly ties occupancy levels to the daily positive test rate reported by the health department. The second part of the proposal focuses on the systematic and expedited vaccination of restaurant and hotel workers, specifically calling for them to be classified under Category 1B of the MDHHS vaccination groups.
While winter is continuing to cause problems across the U.S., over 3 million people in Texas are still without power after a winter storm wreaked havoc on Sunday. Since then, dangerously cold temperatures and wind chills have made the issue of power outages even worse. The Mackinac Center for Public Policy says what's happening in Texas should serve as a warning for Michigan lawmakers. Jason Hayes says Michigan needs to be cautious in its energy endeavors.
If you're going to spend $70 billion, you could build several nuclear plants at that rate. And again, you get absolutely safe, no emissions associated with it. So those are the things that we should be targeting and the areas that we should be looking at. Reliable, clean energy.
And an update Wednesday morning on restoration efforts gave Texas residents only a best-case scenario that called for short rotating outages.
And the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services has established a new task force that will help eliminate systemic racism in the state's child protection system. The Health Department has partnered with the State Public Health Institute for the Child Welfare Improvement Task Force. While 16% of children in Michigan are African American, Black, and brown, kids make up 29% of the state's foster care population. These children and others are at a greater risk for adverse health, social, and economic effects that can last a lifetime.
Children of color enter foster care at higher rates and stay in care longer than their white peers. They're more likely to be placed in institutional settings, stay there longer periods of time, and then more likely to age out of the foster care system without a family.
Dr. Elam says that the task force, which consists of 24 members from Michigan nonprofit and state leadership roles, has many goals in mind to help close that gap.
The task force will be responsible for reviewing the adequacy and effectiveness of the strategies that are being identified by the department, assessing whether the agency is implementing the identified strategies, and then seeking community and legislative support.
Task force members will meet in March to begin gaining insight from youth, families, and workers in the child protection system.
Well, there is more news ahead for you here on WBKB. Coming up, it's Next Level Wednesday, and we're going to
26 degrees for tomorrow. We'll talk about any chances of snow in the extended forecast and which half of the weekend is looking brighter coming up later in the newscast.
And thank you for that, Ellie. Well, today's Next Level Wednesday, and today WBKB's Stephanie Minichi is taking us out of Alpena to an Oakland, California-based technology company to speak with the president about her journey.
Welcome to Next Level Wednesday. I'm Stephanie Minichi. Today I'm speaking with President of Tucker Technologies, Conchita Tucker. Conchita, thank you for joining me today. Just want to jump right in. Some may think because your father was the owner of Tucker Technologies, she became president because of that. What do you want to say to that?
My brother and I began working in the business young, went off and did other things with our careers, came back and started working in the business again once my father was thinking about retiring. And then in 2018, my brother and I bought out my dad.
Conchita, you had your dad as a mentor, but what do you want to say or suggest to those who don't have a mentor and they're looking to climb the corporate ladder?
I think if you approach every job that you have as sort of like, I want to learn how to be a better manager. So you're learning from your supervisor what to do, or often sometimes what not to do, right? Sometimes you have bad supervisors. And so you're like, okay, this does not work. I know when I ascend to this level, I do not want to do what this person is doing, or things that they do that does work. It's like
weekend to take some beautiful frozen bubble photography. The frozen patterns in each bubble were absolutely beautiful. Thank you, Jennifer, for sending us this photo. And if you have a photo such as nature shots, pics with friends, or interesting sights you see that you'd like to send us, email it along with a short description to news@wbkb11.com.
That's really
Very
fascinating.
nice.
Looks like nature's snow globe. Sports is coming up next, but first, Matt Dazinski is in with a preview. Matt, what's going on tonight?
Thanks, Tyler. Coming up next in sports, we will preview the Red Wings matchup as they return to the ice for game number 2 against the Blackhawks. Plus, the Rogers City Hurons wrestling team is in action as they host a quad event. We'll talk about this and much more coming up next.
And welcome back. Well, a new series takes a deep dive into the scandal that tore Woody Allen and Mia Farrow apart, and a mysterious disappearance leads to danger in the upcoming World War II drama 6 Minutes to Midnight. Chris Martinez has those stories and more in today's Ion Entertainment.
This is the story of 2 of the biggest stars in the world.
Explore one of Hollywood's most notorious scandals in the new HBO documentary series, Allen vs. Farrow.
It was an amazing childhood. But no matter what you think you know, it's just the tip of the iceberg.
The 4-part series takes a look at the allegations of sexual abuse against famed filmmaker Woody Allen and his relationship with Soon Yi, the adopted daughter of actress and Allen's longtime partner, Mia Farrow. The first episode of Allen vs. Farrow debuts this Sunday on HBO and HBO Max. Bravo heads out for a mission in Ecuador on an all-new episode of SEAL Team.
We're spinning up to Ecuador as straps on an Alpha Team op to recover a cache of Russian man-pads.
The mission comes as the team continues to grapple with some major changes. Plus, Natalie presents a life-altering idea to Jason. Catch the latest episode of SEAL Team tonight on CBS. And a man finds himself in trouble when he takes a job teaching the daughters of high-ranking Nazis in the upcoming film 6 Minutes to Midnight.
You come recommended by an agency, not of different schools, I see.
Thank you.
That wasn't a compliment.
The drama unfolds at a British finishing school where an English teacher has gone missing 17 days before the start of World War II. His replacement must uncover what happened. Judi Dench, Eddie Izzard, and Jim Broadbent star. 6 Minutes to Midnight hits theaters in March. That's your Eye on Entertainment. Chris Martinez, CBS News, Los Angeles.
Well, that's all we have for you this evening.
You can read more about our broadcast stories and get the scoop on other news items online.
Just visit WBKB11.com for sports, weather, and news updates anytime, day or night.
And check us out on our Facebook page and Twitter handle at WBKB11.
And be sure to catch us back here tonight at 11 with Stephanie Manici. Have a great evening.